This video was brought to you by Fish on a Bike. Welcome back to my video. I will follow up on my medieval Total War II domination with the Danes. Here you can see one of the cardinals of Denmark. Right now I only have one of them. When I have a priest or cardinal selected, I can see how big a percentage of the region is Catholic. I just found a region with 0%. So I'm moving out my cardinal to convert people to Catholicism. Which gives me a better standing with the Pope, who will like me even more. Here you can see my Stockholm region, which I captured earlier in the former video. And you can see I'm upgrading it to a fort, and I have no units I can recruit there because it's just a small town. And this is my capital. You can see I want to recruit a spy so I can spy on the regions. So I had to buy a brothel, which allows me to produce spies. Right now I'm producing a church, so I'll put it in my queue and I'll have to wait 3 turns. Here you can see which faction the Pope favors the most. He can also choose to excommunicate you, and you're bait for all the other Catholic factions. That is my family tree, not very large at the moment. And this is the faction ranking. I can see that's my neighbor, the Germans, pretty hard, and my target is the Russians, pretty similar to mine. And you can change to what different stat. That's the overall. Military, we're quite equal. Production, they're higher than me. Regions, we have quite many. And financial, they have quite the same as I do. And production, no, population is that. They're quite similar. So this is my diplomat. He's 32 years old. His mission is going down south to Italy to meet with Venice, Milan, and Rome, so I can make trade rights and make the Pope my ally, which will make him favor me even more, even though I'm not very pietous. 3 turns have now passed. I can now produce my spy. Also, I've chosen to reinforce my army at the capital in case that the evil Germans decide to attack me. And right now I'm not wishing to build a church or anything, but I'm going to build a leather tanner so I can produce some armor for my units. My diplomat has now met with some other people. I can see the Hungarian princess and the Milan capital. I'm going to talk with the Hungarian princess, because their country is further away and she might move away. So I suggest trade rights so I can earn some more money, and I offer it and she accepts it. And deal's closed. I have now produced a spy. I want to send him up into the Oslo region so I can see what kind of army he got. I know from previous game he has a fort up there and quite a significant large army for the early times of the games. I have a spy at my border to look at the Holy Roman Empire or the Germans, so I can see what he has in his fort. He has 3 units, but I don't want to wage a war against him because I know he has quite many forts and cities much lower south, and he will probably attack me if I try to do something funny. And I can see I have a profit, and I'm going to upgrade my Stockholm region even more so I can produce some Viking raiders. 2 turns and that's done. And I can see I'll still have a profit. I can now see the region where my cardinal is has improved, that 10% is now Catholic. I've sent my navy up into the Helsinki region so I can see what he got there. I can see he has 2 units of Viking raiders and 2 units of crossbow militia, and he has a small fort. So that's what waits me later on in the game. My spy has now made it to Oslo, but he's not close enough so I can see all his forces, but I can see how many forces he's got. I can see at least 1 Viking raider. I can see now that I'm not making as a lot of money that I like to, so I can increase the taxes and earning a lot more money. This also decreases happiness. Another way of increasing your income is to disband units you don't need. I don't need that many ships, so I just keep one. So you can see, well, not really, but I've increased my income. My diplomat has now reached Rome, and I'm offering him alliance and trade rights. Since Rome, or the Papal States, is a very small country, they happily accept because they need a strong ally in case that the Muslims or other Catholics attack. And you can see he favors me most now. Moving my spy closer reveals more units, but not everyone. My population have increased enough so I can hire another priest. I'll do that now, so I can increase Catholicism around in the world. and making the Pope like me even more. While I press enter, and you can see all the different factions turn getting over, and you can see it's now winter. I'm now selecting my new priest, and I'm going to place it near my cardinal to help out converting the local population into Catholicism. And I want to take a closer look to edit this fort, so I press my spy and makes him infiltrated, and I get to watch this nifty little video. There you can see my spy, and he's calling over one of the local guards. If I succeed, he'll knock down the guard and take his uniform and camouflaging him with the rest, so I can look inside the gates of this fort. Although it will have a slight chance of opening the gates if I attack them, so you can open the gates from within, so I don't need any siege equipment to bring down the gates. And now I can see the entire details of the castle. I can see how many religious people there are and everything. The Pope now suggested that we should have a crusade, so he called upon a crusade, so all Christians should rise up and reunite and conquer Jerusalem. You can also suggest the Pope which places you should invade, but right now I don't want to join a crusade since I don't have enough money to raise a second army. I don't have money enough right now to even raise an army, because I really want to have Oslo first. This nifty little video shows how it looks like with the crosses and huge army that you take upon and conquering the other worlds. So yeah. I have now produced an army. I have upgraded Viking raiders with chainmail and dismounted Huskarls, really aggressive people. And I have my Prince Charles as the general, so beware. As you can see, Prince Charles has now reached Oslo. He's walking onto it and smashing his sword right down into the castle, engaging in a siege. I know that my force is very superior to my opponent's. And now I got a display which I can choose which siege equipment I'll bring on. I can see it takes 2 turns to make this, but I don't want to take 2 turns. So I just decide to bring 2 towers instead. So I just click the ram and it goes away, and I maintain the siege for 1 turn. But I forgot that it was not tall enough walls, so I had to produce some other things too. So I built some ladders and a ram. Now I can go on and sieging him. I've only sieged him for 2 turns, so he's not really starved, so he has most of his army intact. Now we're talking. I'm now in a full-scale siege upon the evil rebel city of Oslo. It's not quite a city, it's actually more than a wooden castle. I accidentally built 2 siege towers that I can't really use for anything. Right now the Danish general is having a speech to encourage his men to have victory. And they're like, yeah, and that it's the Viking raiders with male armor. And it's really crappy where I can't really see anything, so I'll wait a turn, and it changes. Bum, 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 bum. There you go. It's still rainy, but it's not very foggy. So now, select the siege towers and drop them. But then I realize, oops, the siege towers are actually standing in the way. As you can see, I can't see his troops because he has the advantage, because he knows when I attack, so he can deploy his units according to my units. So now I just have to move the siege towers. Bum, bum, bum. Since I'm in the deployment phase, I can move them around like chess pieces. So there they stand. Let's see, where should I attack with these ladders? Well, over here. And the other ladders, right next to the gate, perhaps with the battering ram. Yeah, and a battering ram right into the... Yep, and infantry units ready to march in, and the cavalry behind them, and my archers in front. There, I'm ready. As you can see, those are my Huskarls, dismounted nobles, and you can't really see the difference, but if you look at the shields, the Huskarls have more detailed shields with better colors on them, and the Viking raiders have like similar shields with only 2 colors. And there's my general units, very heavily armored horses. Can't really use horses on sieges. They're better to rally in open battles. And now I'm making my ladders to charge the walls. So, and my brave Viking raiders are charging the walls. Another difference between the raiders and Huskarls is that I don't have as many Huskarls as the raiders. I have 112 in each units of the raiders, and I only have 90 in all the Huskars. That's because Huskars are more elite, stronger, and have better morale, and it's more fierce, and they're better armored. And you can see that my units are taking quite a pounding charging to the wall, because all his crossbow militias and his towers are pounding them down like machine guns. And now they reach the walls, they just have to think on how they put up the ladders. They're quite dumb sometimes, but now they realize it. Oh, we have to put the ladders all the way up to the walls. And there's my battering ram. They can't run, so they're just getting a hell beaten out of them. And you can see now my second pair of ladders are reaching the walls, and they're now climbing up. And you can see the militia crossbows just standing there waiting eagerly to be met by my fierce Viking raiders that is fully armored. And you see they're crawling and the crossbows are reloading, shooting down on those waiting to crawl up. And you can see that, oh my god, they just realized Vikings are crawling up the walls, and they're like, oh fuck, and they try to flee, but no, I've got him. And now my units are just pounding them to hell. And the good thing about my units bringing Prince Charles with them is that he is strengthening their morale, so they won't give up without a fight. They will actually not flee. It's very unlikely they'll flee, even though they're outnumbered severely as they are on the walls. And I think there's like 3-1 outnumbered on those walls, but my units will still just keep on pounding, even though they're getting hit by every side that's surrounded, and it's claustrophobic. You see that he's reinforcing his walls, and I'm like, fuck that, I'm going to beat the living crap out of his units. He still has some Viking raiders standing on the ground. The difference between his Viking raiders and mine is that his has more experience, but mine are more heavily armored, so in near combat his units would less likely break away than mine, but mine is more heavily armored, so I just kill his even faster. And now you can see my battering ram has breached his gate, and I'm now waiting for them to set off the ram so I can attack those Viking raiders inside, and now I can push forward. I'm now going to scatter my archers so they don't stand in a close formation, so they don't get killed. So there, my archers is going nearer so they can shoot up the walls, and Prince Charles is going to conquer his center. If I hold the center of his castle/city for 3 minutes without his interfering, I will win the game. Not the game, but the battle. You can now see that my fierce Vikings are bravely dying, because they're going 1-1 against 5. Not really 1-1, but 5 against 1. And mine are outnumbered, but they're giving hell of a fight. They'll stand ground until the rest of the force that comes running here will help them. You can see the bodies of the fellow Vikings are lying all over the place because of the bloody archers. You can now see that my Vikings on the walls are still fighting. It's very intense, these battles, because it's very hard to do a siege. You almost always have to have a really impressive army compared to his, because those towers are really gunning down your troops. They're like medieval machine guns. They fire rapidly arrows, and the arrows kill when they hit. There's now almost no armor save, even though mine has the best armor that you can get at this moment. It is not plate armor, but it's very close to it. It's heavy, no, not heavy chainmail, but it's chainmail. As you can see now, my Huskars is getting ready to attack, and he's retreating to his the center of his city. He knows if he loses it, he will lose the entire battle. I'm losing men on the wall, but they're still fighting. I'm now asking them to kill the people on the wall instead of just holding ground. You can see he's trying to get past my units, because he needs to take the center of the town. And there goes my prince, breaking his units down. And I'm fleeing back to the center. If he's fleeing and he hits the town center, they automatically rally together and remain focused. So when you can see now they're flashing white, and as soon as he hit the town center, they stop flashing, which means that they can't surrender. They'll fight till the last man on the town center. So that's why I usually press end battle with city battles, because if they reach the town center while running, I have to kill every single last one of them. Sometimes I have to do that because everyone is in the town center. Right now you can see he has 2 units of Viking Raiders, his general, and well, he also has a small unit of crossbow militia. I'm trying to get my prince unit up there, but he's quite dumb, so he's scattering himself out. And one disadvantage about the Vikings is that they don't like to stand in formation. They really like to rush out and just kill everyone. That's their favorite thing to do. As you can see, the heavy axes are just cleaving through his men, and he's charging. But eventually, I'll win this city, and he knows it because I'm far superior to him. As you can see, his men is now fleeing from the walls, and my archers is raining hell upon them. I only have 12 Viking raiders on one side of the wall and 14 on the other side. And he has 31 and 40. So I'm heavily outnumbered, but my men is still holding ground. They're not losing their morale. They're not like, fuck that, we're outnumbered, but we still keep on fighting, killing those fucking bastards. Sorry my language, but yeah. Also, Daniel, a guy from Sweden, asked me if I ever used the 300 tactics of having a small force and packing them together with spears, and yes, that is my favorite way of defending a city. I usually have a lot of spear militia people standing in narrow streets, shoulder to shoulder, and telling them not to move a single bit. And when you have like 1,000 of those standing in narrow streets, nothing gets past them. And you just have to keep that way in 30 minutes. You have a time limit if you're really cool. You have to take a city in 30 minutes or less, or else you will lose the city. And also, if you have to defend the city, you have to hold it for 30 minutes. With the time limit, it gives you a more difficult game, because you really need to push forward. You can't really play chicken. You have to, yeah, take some risk. You can see his general is now fighting one of my Huskars. You can see he's much darker than the other one, and that's because he's covered in blood. The more they kill and the more rain and everything, the more dirty my unit gets. This is a feature that he only enables when you have a really good graphics card, so the different units gets more dirty and bloody as they move on. To begin with, they're all shining and everything. You can see now my archers have moved inside the gates. You can see that by the rain of fire coming down. You can see small bonfires of men burning alive. And you can also see that his general can take a lot of beating and really packs a punch back. Whoa, now my Danes are rushing forward because his men have broken ranks, and his general is still fighting. Sooner or later he'll fall, and when he falls, there he falls. Yeah. When he falls, it demoralizes units really hard, so they're like less eager to win. And mine gets a boost and like, yeah, you kill their chief in command, and we are now superior to them, and we're all going to kill them all. Also, you can notice that his Viking raiders are wearing like rags, not very armored, and mine are wearing those chainmails, which also gives them a huge advantage, even though they're both very effective against armored units. Now I'm going to move my archers to flank so I can shoot them in the side. Also, I've toggled fire off because then they're more accurate and less likely to hit my own units. And you can see he doesn't have many units left, and I'm soon going to win this battle. I'm going to speed up a bit, so enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this battle. When I'm done with this city, I now own the entire Scandinavian region. which will give me a huge advantage in trade and everything. This is not going to be my fort, but it's going to be my city of trade. So I have to remake it when I'm done capturing. I can see I'm now holding the city squares, and there, end the battle. Yes, press it. You can see clear victory. I've lost 400 men, but still I have a lot of men left. So, yay, I won. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoy this. I'll make videos later on to show my progress with this campaign.